So yesterday, if you caught my stream, I was giving basically bullish and bearish ideas. And so let me just kind of, and that's kind of what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to tell people it's going up or down. I mean, I am higher time frame mega bullish on TRVL, but obviously what I'm doing in the short term is just giving kind of like commentary on the price action, and maybe just to maybe helping people to get an entry if they're looking for an entry, maybe helping people to take a little bit of profit if they're looking to take a profit. So I've been talking about some kind of ABC here, and then I thought to myself yesterday, well, it could either go up or down. That's usually what happens. If it goes up and finds resistance against the weekly level, then it's going back down. Otherwise, towards the end of the stream, I was contemplating a push up. I was imagining possibly taking the highs. That would have been nice to see a high with an impulsive move. Okay, and then kind of falling back to the weekly level for a back test. So kind of two ideas in motion, and you know, no one really knows. No, honestly, no one ever knows what's going to happen. Yeah, unless you're Putin and you have your trigger finger on the nuclear codes and you short Bitcoin and then start nuking everywhere, then you're not really you can't know what's going to happen unless you make the future. Yeah, you can't predict the future unless you make the future. So what we experienced yesterday was a little bit of an impulsive kind of buy up here. Not crazy buying. And so I'm not 100% sure if this is the impulse that I was expecting. Possibly I was hoping for it to take the highs. But what it did do is it cleanly went through this weekly level that I have. Yeah. So could that be impulse, the first wave? Could this be the first wave? Like the whole thing? Could this whole thing actually be one wave, the next wave? Yeah. Well, the only way to know is if we don't take the low here and we have a corrective pattern here and then we continue the impulse. Yeah, that's the only way to know. Take out the highs. I think if you see a corrective pattern here and then you have another impulse which takes the highs, then we could say, yeah, actually this was it. This was the first wave off this 5.5 support level, and otherwise we're still correcting. Otherwise, you know, someone kind of FOMO'd in a little bit, but the reality is we're still correcting. It's a better correction, isn't it? Because instead of kind of heading down, we've got enough impulsive corrective buy power to keep the prices above this key level, which is 5.5 cents, which we've been talking about basically for over a year now. We've been talking about 5.5 cents being as an important SR flip on the higher time frame. Yeah, so without a shadow of a doubt, 5.5 cents is in play. And as you can see now, looking at the daily time frame, how important it is. Yeah, you see how it's just come back into the 5.5 cents level. Maybe some people who took profit kind of reaccumulated back at this level because that's a natural place for the price to find support. Based on higher time frame fib levels, which are being respected. Yeah, so could it be impulsive? Could this be impulsive? It could be the beginning of an impulse, or it could just be part of a corrective kind of the B part of a corrective. No one really, it's quite hard to see as well with these kind of ultra low cap tokens, because it moves quite erratically when it moves, and it's hard to see. So potentially what we're looking at here, so if you can just ignore this for a second, let me hide it. We're definitely looking at potentially like a weekly level, seeing if that holds. And there is a daily level here as well, so just in case people are wondering, is there a daily level? Yes, there is. There's a daily level here, slightly lower there. We have a weekly level, we have a daily level, and now we're pulling back. And actually higher up here, we haven't hit it yet. Oh, potentially we have hit it, because you could argue that that's been front run a little bit by a centimeter or a millimeter. So potentially you could argue that daily level has been hit, but the reality is that daily level needs to be cleared for continuation to the upside. And we've got this kind of weekly level which at the moment we're trying to get through. Now weekly levels are weekly time frame levels, and so even though on a daily level it can kind of flip around and play around, like you could also kind of do this on the weekly level, but actually on the weekly time frame what we actually need is a flip. On the weekly level needs a weekly flip, weekly time frame flip, kind of like this one here. You see here we had a weekly level here, and then we had a weekly time frame flip to confirm that as an SR flip on that higher time frame. And obviously we printed, as we did that, we printed a brand new weekly level here, there. So while on the daily time frame you could quite easily find support here and go up, we could also quite easily just kind of put volume here and eventually wash it, so it becomes quite irrelevant on the lower time frame. So we don't really know what's going to happen. So in the context of what I'm looking at now, if this is impulsive, then we're looking for this low to hold, not be taken out, and then we're looking for an ABC corrective move and another impulse, and that has to take out these highs. And actually that would kind of look like a little bit of an inverse head and shoulders in this higher range. Otherwise we're looking at some kind of ABC correction, kind of putting in a little bit of an ABC here. Maybe we'll put an ABC here and another ABC. So go 3 consecutive ABCs. So kind of maybe something like this. I don't know how this is going to play out. You know, you'd be looking at something like this, and this could be anything really. This could go up, this could come back here, this could be lower, this could come a little bit lower, and in this case it would come lower. It'd be a little fake out of the lows, and then that's when you get your impulse. So it could totally be some kind of flattish, running flat ABC correction here, or we could have a little bit of a, this could be kind of a little kind of mini first. So I would rather it be correcting still, because I would like the next impulsive wave to be epic to get to higher prices. But I mean, no one can really make this happen. It just has to happen the way it does. Or we're looking at some kind of ABC here, and then we're just looking for some kind of flat correction, holding support again. And it's quite nice because we have a nice fresh daily level here. We have the 5.5. So what we're actually doing here is building support. Yeah, we're building support, and it looks like we're clearing up sell side liquidity. That's what it looks like. We're building support and we're clearing sell side liquidity at the same time. So as far as I can tell, it's looking quite bullish. That being said, I've just pulled the volume profile on this range, in this little kind of mini range, and you can see that in this mini range you've got a little bit of volume coming in at the tops, the higher part of this local range. That is slightly bearish in this range, because that will act as resistance, and it means that people are selling into these local highs. What we need is for the price to come back down and do exactly what it did before. Volume here, point of control into the lows, find support here, point of control back into the lows, and then maybe we can correct. The correction is over, maybe. So something like that would be okay. Something like that would be okay. Is that corrective, or is this an impulsive move? I mean, I think possibly it's corrective. Still corrective. I think it's possibly still corrective. It could have been more impulsive. I think it should have been a little bit more impulsive. I think what happened is you got a few kind of people buying in because it's a good price, but it's still kind of early for the kind of the impulsive move that we want to see. Now this obviously could go lower, so we don't really know how this is going to play out. Based on this pivot that we put in here, This is the 618, which would be good because it's coming back into this higher volume area, and it's coming into this daily level, you see. So there's quite a good confluence here at about 5.6, 5.7 for support. And otherwise, if you don't find support here, then the next kind of move to the downside would be to the 1-to-1, which is this really tiny red candle here. It's about 5.2 cents. And again, what you need is a clean rejection from underneath 5.5. So you're going to need this to reject quite quickly. You don't want to end up lingering. If you do end up going lower, you don't want to end up lingering here, putting in volume here in some kind of flag, which kind of can end up to the downside as the price tries to find support. I think ideally what I'll be looking at the very lowest in this circumstance before we get a kind of a good nice reaction would be actually here, the 618, this daily level, kind of the low of this range, and also the volume that we've put in here in this local range. Hopefully then we can move the point of control back to the low of this range. And I mean, this is all kind of extremely speculative. None of this is so somewhat accurate. You see here this fib time from this pivot and the 1-to-1. It looks like we came a little bit later. I'm just wondering if maybe it was that pivot actually. It's hard to know exactly which pivot was correct. But it's not crazy. It's not easy to see. Let me try, and then kind of from this pivot to this pivot, 618 would put this at Thursday. See that? So does this kind of bleed until Thursday like that? Otherwise, it is possible to kind of bounce, and then, you know, that's also possible. It's possible to kind of come down not faster, but still find the reaction and still come down at the right time. So you're still potentially looking for an ABC. And then obviously, if that was the corrective move, this was the kind of whatever I drew out the other day. It was kind of weird, to be honest with you. ABC, something like that. Some kind of ABC here, and then you had the impulse from there. I mean, still, I think this is the invalidation. I mean, still, you could just ABC correct here and have a real impulse. I just think if this was bullish, we'd probably be looking to hold this weekly level. And so the minute you lose that, I didn't think it's probably a bit more corrective than actual ultra bullish in this context. But that being said, this whole kind of structure looks quite flat to me when you compare it to the move, and it might be forming some kind of pennant or flag. At the moment, it's looking potentially like a pennant. And that would be okay. That would be okay, you know, after you have this kind of expansive move, a kind of pennant corrective price action, and then obviously a flag would be more kind of like I suggested earlier. Something like that. Flag. You still have to get back above it, 5.5, and then if you lose it briefly, and then you still have to get past this volume resistance that forms as you consolidate. But these are the kind of options that we have at the moment. Looking at the higher time frame, let me just delete all of this now, not relevant. We'll keep those. We'll keep these levels which I've marked. I mean, on the higher time frame, it's still looking pretty darn good, isn't it? It's not looking terrible. Like you could imagine that if this was bearish, then this rather than going up, would be kind of at the lows here, going down. There'd be another red, would be pushing down. So generally speaking, when you're pushing the top upper part of a range, you're bullish, you're not bearish. And at the moment, that's what's happening. We're not really pushing the lows. If it was bearish here, I think we'd be the price would be down here, and we'd be looking at another red weekly candle. Then we would be aiming kind of for this area like that. And it doesn't look like that's what's happening. So in my mind, this is actually quite bullish higher time frame correction at the moment. If we hold here this week, second week above this 5.5 level, then I would argue that this support has held on the higher time frame, and we'll probably be looking for higher, and it'd be like buying on support, this 5.5 level, and then we have to attack this next level and see what happens there. And ideally, what you also want to see on these kind of higher time frame green candles is you want to see increasing volume. Yeah. So on the monthly time frame, it's 19th of November. So we still got a good part of 11 days in the month to go, and we've already put in almost as much volume as the previous month. We're about 21 million shy of the previous month. We probably will have an increasing volume from the previous month. Probably, it looks like it will happen. And like I was saying before, I'm looking at a really nice reversal pattern here. Three white soldiers, 3 reds downtrend, followed by 3 greens uptrend. And so I haven't seen that in a while in many charts, to be honest with you. And so I think it's quite a strong reversal pattern on the higher time frame. So I do expect us to go higher. I'm expecting higher. I think what I would like to see, if possible, on the yearly time frame, if we can hit the golden pocket before the year is out, that would be amazing. So kind of here, if we can get there before the year is out, clear the liquidity there, then next year we could be looking for maybe a small pullback, or just a continuation to the upside. That's kind of what I'm looking for right now. Okay, so that's TRVL. If anyone doesn't know about TRVL, then it's always good to do a little bit of research. I talk about TRVL every day, and if you just go onto the Dtravel X page, you can find all your stuff, all the information you want there. And simply, it's a decentralized Web3 Airbnb that's being built on the blockchain, right? And the transaction value, a percentage of it, is being used to buy and burn TRVL. So this is basically the beginning of an innovation, and I think this is extremely bullish in the higher time frame, because effectively what you're dealing with is a deflationary token, which is directly connected and linked to an Airbnb-esque type business, with travelers renting short vacation rentals across the world. And so you can go and have a look and see what it's all about. This is like one of the properties, and these are owned by individuals around the world. So we have a physical network that's growing. This is somewhere in Spain, I think it is. And if you go to the Dtravel website, you can actually search on the search app. And what I've heard is that there will be a mobile app coming, dare I say soon. I don't know if it's going to be soon, but it is in the pipeline. So this is a web app. It's a Web3 app, and here you can search for properties. If you rent any one of these properties for a vacation, just like Airbnb, a portion of that rental value is used to buy and burn TRVL. So you're dealing with a deflationary token, and once this kind of grows, it will grow, it is growing, then you're going to see some significant increase in value when it comes to TRVL. This is the analytics for Dtravel. You can see It's updated 12 hours ago. So far we have nearly 4,000 listings. This is our cumulative value in terms of transactions. That's $888,000. 800. I don't know why there's a difference